Hello, today I'm going to be planting beans in buckets. These are the beans. There are two varieties here. This is a broad bean and this bean is called the SUTTON, and it is a dwarf broad bean. This is a runner bean called tender green, and it's also a dwarf bean. One thing you might be able to enlighten me on, if you're a US gardener, is bush beans. I've often seen bush beans being referred to on videos on YouTube, and I've never been too sure what they are, so you might be able to tell me. Are bush beans dwarf beans? When these beans grow, the beans will grow from the stem, the pods will emanate from the stem. Is that the same for bush beans? Or do bush beans grow as a bush, in other words, put out branches if you like, and beans grow off them? Or are these in fact bush beans, but we call them dwarf beans? You might be able to answer that for me, please. Okay, now these guys have been grown on in these deep root trainers. Okay, they've been outdoors for a couple of weeks now. They're absolutely soaking wet. I'm not too sure if these root balls will hold together when I try and pot them up. These roots are excellent. They're shot through, they're coming out at the bottom of the root trainer, which is what you want. These roots are much finer, and I think I might have trouble actually potting these guys up, getting these guys into the bucket. Now we're going to plant 4 in a bucket, and one thing you need to understand is that because these are dwarf, they don't grow that big as the name implies, so the beans, the pods aren't that big. The pods aren't that big and there aren't as many beans in them, so you don't get a lot back. So don't think you're going to be feeding your family on beans for weeks on end. You're not. You might get one feed from 4 beans in a bucket, and you might not. Only time will tell. This looks as though it might work. This is a pot of soil that was part of my smallest compost pile in the world rack. This soil has been in this pot now 6 months. I haven't actually emptied it out. All I've done is made some holes in it. So I'm hoping there's a lot of goodness in this pot from the chop and drop that was on it last year. Molly's popped out because she smelled this bloodfish and bone, and we're going to put a little bit in each of those planting holes. Did you smell this bloodfish and bone, Molly? You did, didn't you? Right, best put the top on it, otherwise you'll be putting your head in there, won't you? Right, so we're going to go with these dwarf broad beans, the SUTTON. We'll see if those holes are big enough. They don't appear to be, so I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. And hopefully try not to get any root disturbance, or not too much root disturbance, and we'll put these guys in. That's right, Molly, are you listening? Right, here goes, first one. Yeah, those all still aren't big enough. They are now. These guys are going in. How's that? How's that? Let's try this. This one. this hole is just filled up, so we'll open it up again. And that one. Do they look equally spaced to you? What do you think? Supposed to be. I hope they are. Anyway, that's our 4 dwarf broad beans. Right. Now for the runner beans. There we go. Dwarf runner beans, tender grade. This is another pot off the rack. Okay, this compost has been in this pot for at least 6 months with chop and drop on it. It's never been out. Okay, I'm expecting there's some goodness in that pot, and we've just added to it with that bloodfish and bone. Well, they went in a bit easier than the broad beans, didn't they? How's that? They look even. Okay, so that's it, we're up and running. We'll stand these somewhere where they don't catch the wind for a few days and then move them out into the garden. Okay, this is Homegrown Veg, signing out.